Hello there, and welcome back to Starsector. It's the good Dr. Bleak once again. Now, last episode things got a little bit cryovolcanic world. The volcanic world right next door, gas giant. A rocky, unstable world, volcanic world. A volcanic world, barren desert world, desert world. Desert world, volcanic world, desert world. Good God, it never ends. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Why do I do this to myself? I'm gonna go with dramatic. Frustrations flared, had trouble finding any planets worth taking, and looking back on it, I realize what the issue is. I am treating this game like I already have 80 hours into it, where I've explored most of the sector. But the way I'm currently playing it, I am recording everything instead of just playing until I get bored. So I'm having to go through a lot more editing afterward. Means that my perception of how much time I've spent on this is different from how much time has actually passed. Now with that in mind, I've made a decision. We're going to go colonize Alpha Braddock. That arid planet with the excellent farmland is actually really appealing, and the other resources available should make for nice, profitable living. That being the case, I went ahead before the part started. I loaded up on supplies and everything else we might need. Should make for a nice, easy start to the colonization phase of the game. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the game, all three of those that I expect to be here, colonization is roughly the mid-game for Starsector. Putting down roots, having a place that can build stuff for you instead of having to just buy whatever's on hand. Also lets you start stockpiling weapons and ships to suit different situations without having to pay through the nose to store them to any of the big factions. Colonization also opens up more options for making tons of money, and eventually taking on some of the bigger powers if they happen to piss me off enough. Which, honestly, I expect will happen eventually. So, we've arrived in the Alpha Braddock system, and I've already got the course laid into the planet in question. Now, among other things, the mods that I have running add a couple of new industry options, and I'm going to have a look-see and determine which would be the best option to start with. So I think I'm going to go with calling this place Navarro. If memory serves, that word means plains or lowlands, and given this is one giant arid planet, I'm expecting there's probably a lot of plains. I don't see any major mountains from orbit. What do we want to call ourselves? Ooh, Bleak Megacorp. No. That is actually a pretty good name to start with. And the fun part, choosing a flag. These three at the bottom I know are definitely not standard. I believe the ones above them are Nexerelin, and the top couple are all vanilla. I'm just going to go with that one for reasons. And now to add an industry. Okay. Unfortunately, we can't start off with organ farms. Harvested organs, of course, are exceptionally expensive in the world of Starsector, so having the ability to produce them without having to commit horrible crimes would actually be really nice. But we need a larger population before we can manage that. So instead, we're going to go with farming. Agriculture is a trade and technology as old as civilization itself. For thousands of cycles, humanity has harnessed the power of natural, modified, and artificial biological machines for sustenance. So it has always been, so it shall be as long as humans are human. Well, the first half of that is a weirdly bleak way of looking at farming, but the latter half is surprisingly, actually quite positive. Now, the reason I'm going for that is, this place has rich farmlands. That means food production gets a bonus. Not the biggest bonus we could find, but that's about as good as we're going to get right now. While we're at it, hazard pay. Now, what that's going to do is hazard pay will attract additional people to move here and increase the population. That in turn means the population will grow more quickly and I'll be able to support more industries, including organ farming. Currently, growth is at 1%, but a lot of that is because there's no accessibility in this place and it's unstable as heck because of a shortage. You might wonder why. Well, the spaceport hasn't been built yet, so we don't have facilities for loading and unloading cargo or doing basic starship repair. A colony without a spaceport is inaccessible to interstellar trade, so we can't bring in the stuff we need yet. Fortunately, a spaceport is only going to take 15 days to set up, and once that happens, stability will go up massively, and we'll be able to raise our accessibility quite a bit. Now, is there anything else I want to queue on this place? Now, we need a functional spaceport in order to put up an orbital station, so can't really do much of anything else just yet. Same for Patrol HQ and Way Station. So we'll just have to let that run for the moment. While we're at it, I'm just going to look at the star info real quick. So what I'm thinking is, now that Navarro has been colonized, once we have a little bit of excess money, we can go ahead and put some on Alpha Braddock 2 as well. We could turn that place into a mining colony. It's got decent rare ore, but much more importantly, ultra-rich regular ore. Granted, regular ore is not worth anywhere near as much, but it will still bring in the money. The fact that it also has no atmosphere means that it's perfectly suited to refining once we get certain items in hand. Neyron, I remember something about this one too. Ah, yeah, this one had Khufu. The planet with the poor farmland and the aminical biosphere, and probably the Ludic Path infestation. Alright. Now with that done, what else do we have going on? Well, I found a 14th Legion battle cruiser just laying there out in the middle of nowhere, so we got that. Now this place only has one stable location, but we can fix that later on. And I don't know if I have enough resources on hand right this second, but I am going to have a look at the stable location and just check on something particular. Now, stable locations can be used for a variety of things, but the three most common are putting down a comm relay, a sensor array, or a nav buoy. Comm relays increase accessibility and allow information to travel between your system and the rest of the sector. Sensor arrays, we saw one of those in another system a while back, increases the sensor range of any friendly ship in the system. And nav buoys make you faster in system. Good for chasing down anything looking to come and harass your colony. We want a comm relay if at all possible. Yes, just barely, but I have enough resources. I was worried about the metals. We're going to construct a makeshift comm relay, an imitation of the domain era counterpart constructed using what passes for state-of-the-art in the sector. Nonetheless, a makeshift comm relay is capable of facilitating faster-than-light communication between star systems, just like I said. Even if the transmission speeds are less than ideal and the occasional phantom comm streams picked up give nightmares to even the most seasoned operator. Yeah, I don't know if those are entirely what people think. And as you can see, we already started getting information. There's apparently a bounty on for a pirate nearby, and a pirate-based bounty. I'm gonna make a hop, skip, and a jump over here and have a look real quick. I'll meet you there. Okay, my hop, skip, and a jump turned into more of a slow crawl trying to avoid ruptured hulls. For whatever reason, the route it took me through had nothing but hyperspace storms. Still, we made it. First things first, gonna get some more crew, because I need them. Second things second, fuel supplies. We're gonna unmothball this. Repair our ships. Ooh, 213 supplies. But I think it is within our capability to take on something a bit bigger. Okay, so we're arriving at a system called the Yabadish. It's not one we've explored before, and it's a black hole system, so I gotta make sure I stay out of the center. What we're here for is there is supposed to be a pirate base somewhere in the system that has a bounty out on it. And with the addition of that 14th Battlegroup Legion, I believe we might have the firepower to take it on. I'm going to have a look and determine how dangerous it actually is before I make a judgment, though. I'm gonna guess that the pirate base is probably somewhere around here. Yep, there it is, floating in one of the rings. We'll scan this planet real quick and then move on to the base. It's only got 2 pieces, minimal defenders. Defense fleet is garbage. Yeah, we can take these guys. Let's see. Do I have any... no, don't have any Marines on me while I'm at it. Usually, if I happen to be blowing up a space station, I'll also go through and have Marines raid the place to steal anything worth taking, but I don't have any Marines on me at the moment. Let's see, engage the orbital station and its defenders. Okay, bringing out the big guns. So the plan is simple. The bigger ships are going to focus on the space station, the smaller ships are going to deal with the defenders. Shouldn't be anything too difficult given the situation, but always best to have a screen from fighters and smaller ships, that way they can't sneak around behind you and shoot you in the ass. And yes, it is an actual problem. Dang, I might have even overestimated the pirates on this one. Yep. We're chewing through the armor. A significant portion of the station's weapons are already disabled. And this is the more difficult section, the one that's purely combat focused. That this is going so well means that we are definitely ready to start taking on bigger projects. Taking out the occasional space station, taking on bigger bounties against tougher fleets, and in fact, I think there were a few in this area. Look at them go. Alright, space station and all defenders taken down. 1 crew lost, no Marines lost. Gained complete victory in the engagement. I'm not looking to pick up any of the junk ships the pirates were using. 11,000 credits just from the CPUs still active on some of those wrecks. Hephaestus assault guns, Mark 9 autocannons, Reaper launchers. Excellent. Got a bunch of experience, another level up. Got to double dip on the bounty too. Tritachyon paid me, and the reputation with them went up. Hegemony paid me. Reputation with them went up. Everything's coming up roses. Unfortunately, taking out space stations is probably going to get a little bit more common as time goes on. See, the pirates are going to set up to start raiding my colony over the next couple of months, especially when it starts getting bigger and more profitable. They love to make trouble. Alright, so good news, bad news. Good news is we're here. Bad news is there was a bit of an accident and I lost about 45 minutes worth of recording. To say that I'm not pleased would be kind of an understatement, because things actually went exceptionally well. Here's the rundown for what you need to know happened. We took down 3 bounties, and in the process made a fair amount of money. On our colony planet Navarro, we took that money and parried that into upgrading the spaceport to create a megaport. We also took out a remnant fleet, just 2 small ships, nothing major, and our reputation with the remnants changed, and I did that for plot-related reasons. Now, I've gone back to the old save. I have recreated as much of what happened as I could, but unfortunately the bounties we received were different in the new recording, so I can't show you those fights. And damn am I upset about that, because they actually went really, really well for the most part. But there will be future opportunities. I did manage to recreate the moment where we took down our first base. The pirate base bounty that was already in place, I could go back to that one. I went, I fought it, you'll have seen the footage by now. I knew this was going to happen eventually. You cannot make anything without the risk of disaster, and especially not multi-part series. I was hoping to go a little further before it happened, but this is why you keep multiple saves. Alright, so as it stands, currently I'm on my way to Coulon. See, we have a bunch of our stuff in storage there, and I would very much prefer to move that to Navarro, where I can store it for free. So I'll go ahead and meet you guys there, and we'll pick up somewhere from there, and we'll get up to some interesting stuff. Gosh, I am just having the worst luck this week. Okay, so arriving at Coulon, we're going to go over here to our storage. Let's see, yep, there's our heavy armaments, a bunch of weapons that I've been saving, and our marines. I'm just going to grab everything, and we'll carry that with us until we get back to Navarro. Anything interesting? Ooh, mercs. I could always use more men. You prove yourself worthy of association by partaking in a round of Atmo drops, a drink centered around consuming eye-watering liquor as quickly as possible. The mercs are drunk for sure, but composed enough to speak about the details of why they're being investigated by local authorities. After a couple of mercs head up to order a round of orbital bombardments, their leader pulls you aside and sketches out a proposal. We've got 45 suits, experienced operators, they can fight in VAC or Atmo, 1 to 5G. He smirks at the look you give. Okay, 3. 4 if it's quick and there's a bonus. A scarred hand dismisses this. Details. What matters is I'll offer our contract for 5,985 credits. Practically charity, isn't it? Put us to work or sell it off elsewhere. Doesn't matter to me if you can get us out of this fix. What do you say? Excellent. I'll go ahead and buy the mercenaries' contract and sneak them off Coulon. It's not going to get us in any major trouble. The authorities really don't care all that much. Some clever device provided by the mercs convinces the port authorities' automated scanners that 2 particular cargo containers are half filled with mildly radioactive silicate gravel and nothing else. Your logistics officer sneaks them aboard your fleet without inconvenience. He nods. All systems go. Let's see, woman smoking in a dark corner. She looks at you. I need an extraction of a subject from unjust confinement on Cibola, 10 light-years away. My benefactor offers a payment of 93,000 credits to secure the subject's liberation. So Warlord Kanta wants someone busted out of prison. I'm good. High-ranking official wants a word. Captain, please do sit. Make yourself comfortable. He motions toward a pitcher of clear, cool water. He is always on duty from the look of it. Stratcom requires an irregular force to disrupt orbital works at Captain Starworks for 60 days. A few flicks on a data pad and a holomap floats above the table. The intel is comprehensive. Estimated garrison stats and deployment dispositions. The target is 8 light-years from here. The Special Operations Office has agreed to pay 82,000 credits if you can complete this mission. You examine the data and estimate that roughly 150 Marines would be required to pull off this operation. The Tritachyon Major watches you make your calculations, patiently awaiting your response. Well, that is a pirate port, and I am more than happy to mess with the pirates. And I believe we have enough Marines to pull that off. Got nearly a year to do it, too. Yep, more than enough Marines. And in fact, I believe I'm going to load up on more while I'm here. Sell off some survey data that I don't need. One of the things that happened while you guys were unfortunately blind and missing, I did take a prisoner. One of the bounties that I took out, the captain that we were after survived the initial engagement, although it didn't tell me in detail how. And we ended up taking him prisoner. Prisoners are useful for a variety of things. The main ones are you can trade them to improve your reputation with a faction, or ransom them off for money. This person is going to be staying in luxury prison for the moment, in one of the nicer cells on my ship. As you saw before, we did take out a station and got some big guns as a result, but we also took out a bunch of smaller ships, in particular a bunch of carriers. It was not easy, I'll tell you that. But we got a bunch of smaller weapons from them that I'm going to stockpile over at Navarro. It's good to build up a supply of weapons, that way you have a, what I like to call a don't fuck with this armory. If trouble ever comes, you can go ahead and kit out whatever ships you have, however you need. Let's see, accepted. Disrupt the orbital works. Go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to bounce around the core a little bit and take care of some things. We do have to stop off at Galactia Academy and go ahead and take care of the fact that we, dang it. Okay, so. Aren't you the same guy I just talked to? Attention, your fleet matches the profile of a suspected smuggler posted by Kulan authorities. You are hereby ordered to submit to a cargo scan. I don't believe I have anything illegal on me, and it's not like they're going to be able to tell those mercs apart from the rest of the people that I have on my staff for fighting. Allow a scan. No contraband or suspicious cargo found. Operations Manager Orion Thymus looks vaguely displeased. Well, everything looks clean this time. The comm link is cut before you have a chance to respond. So that does happen at random sometimes. Occasionally, one of the major powers will stop you for a random search. But in this case, they didn't find anything, so everything is all good. Okay, arriving at the Ishara star system. Now, the plan is to go down here to the Cap 10 Starworks and disrupt one of their industries for a bit. While we're at it though, I'm gonna stop at Surtur and just have a look and see what they've got going on. Nothing terribly noteworthy. Let's see, concerned person. Okay, Selena Hygia needs 1,810 units of transplutonic ore delivered to Agrius in the Arcadia system. I happen to be going there. And my fleet's holds can accommodate 3,269 units. Good. I'm willing to make some quick money. 108,000 credits in return. Let's go. Okay, so as we approach the Starworks, I'm just going to turn off my ID, and we'll have a look, see what we got. Your fleet approaches Captain Starworks, less hospitable, less agreeable, and less easily dominated from Karazhan than Laciel. Captain was passed over by League expansion efforts and, largely intentionally, forgotten as relations between the League and Church stabilized. The pirates have a long-standing unofficial arrangement with their law-abiding neighbors, which results in more trade and fewer raids and counter-raids than one might expect. Your fleet goes into orbit around Captain Starworks. The local port authority seems to take no issue with your explanation for why your transponder regrettably can't be turned on. You take a shuttle down to the main concourse and quickly find a likely-looking establishment, as usual. The space is dark and filled with shouts, sweat, and pulsing music. Every wall and surface is pitted and stained by rough spacers banging their mugs and laughing as a couple of pirate crews posture for a fight. You can only assume that one of the heavily augmented bouncers will spoil the fun before weapons are drawn. Gangsters and pirate captains watch the scene smugly from smoke-filled booths at the back. A patron does a double take, and with recognition comes a look of intense hatred. Crap. You! The shout cuts through the clatter and noise of the bar like a shot. The burly spacer stands and readies a meaty fist, only to be thrown back onto a table with a smash of glassware by one of your bodyguards. Generally discreet, but paid well to take initiative at times like these. The chaos spreads outward. Crew and locals alike staring, and those drunkest and angriest standing. One pulls a knife, which prompts a pirate 3 tables down to draw a gun, at which point your instinct to find cover kicks in. You hear your name shouted like a curse, and an already broken vid screen on the support column behind you explodes into burning plastic fragments, and the soft round from a boarding pistol puts it out of its misery. Your bodyguards respond with controlled bursts for energy weapons set to low power, giving cover to your withdrawal. Smoke, screams, and flashes of discharge fill the bar. Stumbling outside, you see passers-by clearing out as fast as they can. A noodle stand cook gives you a frightened look as they duck behind armored shutters. There'll be no quiet business done at this bar for the shift, that much is clear. Yep, so the pirates already hate my guts for a variety of reasons, and it appears someone recognized me when I went down to their bar. Crap. Ah well. No real need to get all that bent out of shape over it. Let's just have a look. So they want me to disrupt the orbital works. Easily done. Looks like the Starworks are willing to put up a fight, but I'm willing to put up a fight too. Let's go in and get this taken care of. Now the trick with this one is going to be dealing with the station. Most of the supporting ships are tiny and poor quality, so I don't expect they'll give me much trouble, but this station has 3 segments rather than the 2 that I took out before. That extra bit of firepower from the fighters might actually make a significant difference. But we'll see. I don't know what this idiot in the kite thinks he's gonna do, but then again, pirates fly what they have. And they are none too bright a crowd in general. Warlord Kanta, of course, being the exception. Hound and a kite gone. It's not a lot, but every ship we take out of the fight is a bit easier that the rest of the fight gets. Absorbing a lot of piranha bomber hits, but apparently the shields can take it, so I'm not about to make problems. Keep hiding. Gremlin's an interesting little ship while the fighting is going on. It's not actually supposed to be a ship, it's just a testbed for phase technology that got left in the blueprints held by some of the old nano forges. Someone decided it was worth having. It's not that we're at risk of losing this fight anymore, but the longer it goes on, the more annoying it gets. Yeah, they got that. Back to the station. Looks like they're struggling with this one a bit, but making progress. One of the hangar sections is down to less than half health. Now, fighters and bombers are not the unimaginably overpowered thing they used to be in this game, but they are still damn dangerous. So, if I can take these out, all the better. Used to be that fighters and bombers determined who would win any encounter, and if you could just get enough of them, you could beat literally anyone. Now, not so much. The balance has been adjusted to avoid that outcome. Alright, that's one station segment dealt with. We lost the Omen. We'll have to get that one back. Second station segment down, and looks like it detached. So that'll be out there floating around for now. Damage has taken some of the weapons offline, which is good. I really wish we could pick up the pace on this one. I don't want to give him too much time to damage the Legion while its shields were down there. There we are, Champion's doing work. I ended up loading it up with point defense to act as a screen against fighters and missiles, but it's also got the Dragonfire missile launcher and a couple of mining blasters to let it pack quite a punch. Get it. It's just the station left now, so it's only really a matter of time and how much damage they do in the fighting. Preferably less, but we'll see what we get. And there we are. Starworks and its defenders are disabled, so we can go in and disrupt the orbital works at our leisure now. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this gremlin. Bunch of supplies, bunch of weapons. Disrupt one of the facilities. Orbital works, we'll just assign everyone. It's well in excess of what we need to do, but having pissed these guys off, managing to delay them for quite a while is no big deal in my book. There we are. You feel almost imperceptible vibrations as the assault shuttles return to your ship, their work complete. You listen for a moment to the open, broad comm channel. The line crackles and squeals with the last gasp of electronic warfare distorted through chaff and the warp of fresh plumes of charged particles. It's a familiar sound. You can almost smell it. Tactical has casualty reports prepared for review. You acknowledge with a nod and shut off the comms. Gained 82,000 creds. Relationship with that contact went up by 5, and Tritachyon up by another 3. Damn, another level up already. So while you guys were gone, I did get the sensor skill. Increases our sensor range and decreases the range at which we're detected by 25%, but more importantly for me, adds +3 burn level when the fleet is considered moving slowly. That's been kind of a big deal because we have been spending a lot of time driving our way through hyperspace storms. Now, that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and get the navigation skill. Reduces the terrain movement penalty for all applicable terrain, and increases burn level. I always want to be moving faster if at all possible so I can get to the good stuff and not have to cut as much of these recordings. Blah, there we go. Also gives us the transverse jump ability, which is simply very, very useful. In fact, gonna go ahead and replace remote survey on the bar down here with transverse jump. What transverse jump does is if we are in a star system, it lets us jump directly out without needing a jump point. And if we are outside of a star system and we get near enough to a nascent gravity well, one of the ones that hasn't quite opened up to a jump point like these, we can jump down into the system. Next up, we're dropping off those supplies that we agreed to ferry. and I'll meet you there when we get to Arcadia. Alright, arrived in Arcadia. Your fleet approaches Agrius. Centuries of stripped ship hulls rest on the long, cold lava seas and regolith plains of this barren world. Some especially reactive reactor cores are left in quarantine pits that glow with detectable radiation ticking on long-range scans. Workers employed by the industrial operations live in vast crater acrologies, underground cities ringed by glittering solar arrays, and spurs of transport tubes leading to outlying processing facilities and mineral yards. Your fleet transmits identification codes via the transponder, and you are soon granted docking clearance. You contact the relevant parties and drop off the cargo at the agreed-upon dockside locations. Lost, bunch of transplutonic ore, gain 108,000 credits. Excellent. As your fleet trades pings with local traffic, your comms officer calls for your attention. Captain, there's a message for you. It was stored in the comm network until our transponder codes were registered to local authorities. Patch it through to my tripad. Academian Cornelius Elk appears before you. The resolution is poor and the audio patchy. It appears that he doesn't pay for premium-grade transmission and caching. Ahem, yes, hello. I assume that icon means it's recording. He clears his throat, turning to fully face the imager. I am Academian Cornelius Elk. He waits for a moment to allow his name to sink in. You may have heard of my seminal work, A New Survey of Planetology on the Fringe of the Persean Sector, which achieved a new standard for the field, if I may say so, despite tepid reactions from certain of my narrow-minded colleagues. Now, as I was saying, his self-important speech is as droning as you recall from your previous conversation when you returned a planetary data core to the Academy. He pauses a moment, probably to evoke gravitas. It is my desire that this missive finds you receptive, Captain... He glances down, reading from a datapad. James Bleak. It has been strongly emphasized to me by a patron of the sciences who has seen fit to fund my work that you are the perfect facilitator to the solution of an old mystery I found in the archives. He squints again at something on his datapad, then says under his breath, Is that the cost per second? Stars above. Ellick clears his throat, then speaks quickly. In summary, my patron offers a vast fortune in credits for services, which I shall be pleased to enumerate in detail upon your visit to my office at the Galactia Academy, which may be found in orbit of the message cuts off. He sounds as pompous as ever, but if Ellick is telling the truth about a vast fortune, it might be worthwhile to hear him out. He did, after all, pay out the reward for his data core. Abyssal Space Oddity accepted. New quest to worry about. Let's see. Take a shuttle down. Nothing I'm interested in. Repair our ships. Cost 2 supplies. Let's just have a look-see. Anything I want. Bunch of ore, but nothing I particularly need. While we're at it, just gonna have a look at this. A major center of shipbreaking in this region of the sector. Hulks are consigned to scrapping here by the Hegemony Navy and many other clients from among the sector core worlds. The Co-Combine has purchased the rights to planetary administration under their corporate charter, and has rebuilt their vast fortune on employing novel recycling techniques, ship reconstruction, and, some say, scraping intelligence from dead pseudo-AI cores. Well, that's interesting to say the least. I'm aware that Agrius was a big scrapping center, but I hadn't ever read the flavor text to notice the bit about scraping information out of dead computers. Makes sense, though. There is information in trash. And Nomios. Dirty ammonia snow falls in fits and flurries from the thin atmosphere of Nomios. The drifts are small and mostly cleared from the habitat's armored landing bay doors by battered crawler drones. This planet's facilities are operated by the ruling bureaucracy, a secretive fragment of the Mabaya Gogol Directorate that claims to have survived since the collapse, in mind rather than body, if the rumors are true. Now we're going to stop off at Nomios, and I want to look at something real quick. Nomios is a frozen world that happens to be home to one of the rare cryosanctums, an enormous tomb-like vault built to store those who choose to risk cryosleep to pass this time of troubles to wake in what will presumably be a more civilized age. The cryopods themselves are insignificant in size comparison to the many times redundant support infrastructure, massive automated security systems, and anti-ship batteries, all housed in a branching subsurface fortress labyrinth. So in short, Nomios is home to a place where people can pay to simply sleep in cryo, hoping to wait things out until eventually the situation resolves. It's a very interesting place from a lore perspective, if also mildly horrifying from every other perspective. You might notice the cryosanctum demands organics and supplies and produces harvested organs. Presumably, if you either can't pay your bill anymore, or you go brain dead in cryosleep. Part of the deal is that they get to take whatever bits of you are worth scooping out. And taking a shuttle down to the bar, you might notice that this has immediately popped up with some custom artwork. Yeah, I wanted to highlight the cryosanctum because it's related to this. Your fleet approaches Nomios. Heavy weapons emplacements conspicuously track and ping all incoming ships, the equivalent of a firearm held at the ready. Reception on Nomios is elegant, muted, and polite, an antiseptic mask over business spoken of through implication. No sooner have you entered the bar than you're quickly approached by a man in a lab coat. Your guards step forward to block his approach and he stops dead in his tracks. From that reaction you can assume he's just thawed out from pre-collapse. And a closer look at his clothes confirms this. The lab coat has the logo of the long-gone Exodyne Biotech megacorporation. Whoa, sorry about that, but you're a starship captain, right? I've got something incredibly important to tell you about. You're going to want to hear this. Let's find a seat. You humor him and find a free booth. He wastes no time launching into his explanation. I'm from before the collapse, right? Got put on ice because my medical implants needed the gates to connect to their verification server, but that's not important. What's important is I can tell you the location of a treasure trove of cutting-edge biotechnology. Interested? Thought so. Here's the brief. I work, or rather worked, for Exodyne Biotech, best biotech company in the domain. You might be familiar with the commercial goods biofactory? Well, that thing might be miraculous compared to modern tech, but it's chump change compared to what we were working on. The literal bleeding edge of high-end bioforging. The same stuff that later generation seed ships would use to terraform entire worlds, just way more sophisticated. All you need to do is fly out to the ship we were developing it on and get it. No need to pay me for it, I just want my life's work to get put to use. Can you provide any details on the ship? The XBS Relrate Citadel class. I don't expect you've heard of the hull before. It was a pre-release model we leased from Tritachyon. In essence, it's an alteration of the Paragon class hull. The central section is filled with a habitation module that the labs are built into. That's where you're headed. Well, why did you leave the ship behind? His face sours. If it had been up to me, I would have stayed. It took all the clout I had just to convince them to leave the ship. Jumping into hyperspace would have ruined entire cycles of experiments. I got stuck in cryosleep, told that I'd be woken up as soon as things got back to normal and we could head back out. And then, well, he gestures broadly. Apparently Exodyne went under while I was on ice, and the rail rate was somehow left unaccounted for, and I don't have the money or lifespan to head back out myself. What makes you think it's still out there? Ha! He laughs. A few hundred cycles is nothing to the kind of tech we were working with, and before we left we made sure to set everything up to last. It'll be well maintained. A brief pause forms until he suddenly remembers the state that the sector is in. Oh, or did you mean looters? Well, maybe nowadays you call them salvagers, eh? Look, if someone else has found it, we'd both have heard about it. No news means it's still out there. What exactly should I be expecting? His confidence wavers for a split second. Well, nothing you haven't dealt with before, I'd wager. post-apocalypse space captain and all that, but maybe bring a couple warships if you have them. Never know what's out there, right? It's AI, isn't it? He nearly cringes out of his skin and his eyes dart across the room as though a hegemony inspector is going to drop in through a grav well. Okay, keep quiet about this, but yes. We had an integrated space defense system on contract from Tritachyon. Just don't go spreading that around. I don't want some maniac racing out there to destroy all our hard work just because it's defended by a few drones. Understandable. What exactly is this fantastic technology? Like I said, bioforging. Same basic principle as a nanoforge, but wildly more complex. Load it up with a design and it'll print endless near-identical copies of living things. He lets that statement hang in the air for a moment. That's nothing new, of course. We've done it for animals for ages. The real prize is the specific design we were working on. That is what will change this sector forever. And what is this design? You want to know? Fantastic. Go out there and see for yourself. Can't you just tell me now? I could, but I won't. I want you to see firsthand what we've achieved without any preconceptions. He smiles sincerely. And besides, curiosity is a great motivator. Now you've got another reason to pull this off. Alright, where is it? I knew it. I knew you were the right call the moment I saw you. Here, let me send you the coordinates. His fingers dance across a modern tripod with practiced ease. You review the data packet while he begins chatting. We were doing some side studies with Iridani Utopia on some local life forms in that system. There was this one amoeba that... Are there not any auth codes in this data? He hesitates. Do you mean computer passwords? You won't need to access them. They've just got research data. Hardware is what you're looking for. I mean for the ship. Now he's concerned. Can't you just take a shuttle aboard? Nothing on board will try to stop you once you are. You could go to the command deck and do something. Does the ship have point defenses? Probably. It's a redesign of a Paragon. Those have point defenses, right? He looks nervous. Maybe they're not turned on? Maybe. There's nobody aboard, right? A flash of guilt crosses his face. No humans aboard. So the defenses will be off, right? You'll just need to get access to the ship and board it. No need to shoot at it. I'll be careful, don't worry. He exhales. Good, thank you. I wouldn't want anything aboard to get damaged. I'd rather it stay out there until we can recover it safely somehow, but as long as you think you can do it, I'll put my trust in you. He slaps his hand on his thighs and stands upright. Well, that should be everything you need to know. I wish you the best of luck. Now, if you'll excuse me, my cybernetics are telling me that their license will expire soon. I intend to take whatever's left in my company account and live my remaining lifespan to the fullest. Fly safely, and don't come back empty-handed. A firm handshake, and he's gone, leaving you with a set of coordinates and the promise of treasure. The Pet Project. Target fleet is in the Alpha Onara system. Well, that's that. The start of one of the major mods that I have installed. And the one that I have the most experience with. We'll have to see how that goes. That being said, with replicating as much of that lost footage as I can, and the matter of going around doing all of the things we've been up to, I'm going to go ahead and call it there for the moment. Hopefully won't have any more footage loss issues. I think I solved the problem that we got hit with. And with that said, I'll see you guys around.